We're building a new PC for me, and today we're going to tell you about the power supply I picked.
Hi, I'm Diane, and this is Paul, and we are the PC Zombies.
Yes, Diane, and let's just start right in. First of all, let's tell them about the other components we've already picked for this build, because it does come into play when you pick a power supply.
Okay.
The CPU I picked is the Intel i9-14900KS with 24 cores and a top turbo frequency of 6.2 gigahertz.
The motherboard will be the Asus ROG Maximus Z790 formula with 20 VRM power stages and a built-in water block for cooling the VRMs.
The graphics card will be an Asus ROG Strix RTX 4090 OC. With 16,000 CUDA cores, this will be a monster. We're going to also replace the air cooler with the Fantex Glacier 4090 for our custom water loop.
For memory, we'll be installing Corsair Dominator DDR5 clocked at 6600 megahertz with a CL value of 32.
That means this will do a memory fetch every 9.7 billionths of a second. That's fast.
So now we're going to explain what power supply we chose and how we picked it.
And to do this, we're going to follow the process of our last video, which I'll link to below. 7 power supply tips every PC builder needs to know. Let's do it, Di.
Okay, so how did you determine what wattage you needed?
I found the wattage by using both AI, using Copilot, and also doing it manually myself, looking at the manufacturer's data. And so here's what I found. I entered the text into Word first. I said, I'm building a computer with the following components. I listed the components, and as you can see, I put in parentheses overclocked on any component that was overclocked. Next, I said, I'm planning to build a custom loop to cool the CPU and graphics card and hope that Copilot picks up the water pump that's needed for that as well. Finally, I said, how many watts will be required by my power supply? I then selected this text in Word, copied it, pasted it into Copilot, and Copilot came up with the following results.
So how did AI do compared to your manual calculation?
Okay, let's look. Here is my manual calculation. I then added another column for the results from Copilot. And then looking at Copilot's results, it came up with the same as I did, about 1200. And with Headroom, we both came up with 1500. I loved it. I can't believe they came up that close to my results.
That's impressive. So what 80 plus efficiency standard did you choose?
I know already that the case I'm looking at is going to have a closed enclosure for the power supply. There will be vent holes and whatnot, but I don't want it to generate too much heat. So I'm going to go for the top one, all right? That's titanium. Now, if I can't get that, I will settle for the platinum. Either way, I think they'll both be fine. It's a very high-end build. I don't want to go down to gold or less because I want high-end components because I'm paying a lot of money for this graphics card and the CPU and the motherboard. I don't want the power supply to become a bottleneck or a problem.
Does your graphics card require a special cable?
Well, I found this out easily by using Google. What I typed into Google is, what cable type does the Asus ROG Strix RTX 4090 graphics card require? And it said it needed a 12V HP WR cable. And from our last video, we said that if you're buying a 40 series NVIDIA chip graphics card, which we are, then you need to have an ATX 3.0 power supply. And part of the ATX 3.0 standard is that you will get the 12V HP WR cable. So we're good for that as long as I get an ATX 3.0 or better power supply, like a 3.1 would work as well.
What aesthetics did you decide on?
Well, first of all, the color of the power supply won't matter, because it's going to be in an enclosed case. I do know that already, and I'm pretty much selected this case. I will use its initial cables just to get the testing of the PC done. But when I get to the point where I know how long every cable is, I'm going to order custom cable mod cables like we did on the last 2 builds, because I really like the look of that. And you can get the color you want and the combing and everything. It's awesome.
What form factor?
ATX.
What brand?
I want to get Corsair, and the reason why is it provides some diagnostic capabilities that I have not seen before. You can read your power supply, you can see how it's providing the power, and it can even log it for you. I like that. I want to have that, and I want to try that. So we're going to go with a Corsair brand with the IQ support.
How did you shop for your power supply?
I started off on Amazon, and I looked up power supplies, and I checked the titanium 80 plus requirement, and all it showed was EVGA and Corsair. So then I went to the Corsair website, found their power supplies, checked that I wanted titanium, and it only had one power supply, the AX1600i. And I thought, well, is that going to work for me? So I went to Google and I asked, does the Corsair AX1600i power supply support ATX 3.0? And Google said, no, it's an ATX 2.0 power supply.
So does that mean you have to go with the Platinum?
Yes, it does, but that's okay. I wanted to try out the Corsair diagnostic software. It's still a great power supply. Platinum is a great standard, so it should work for what we're doing. So what I did is I went to Corsair, I looked up the 1500 watt power supplies that supported Platinum. I found the HX 1500i, and I found right there on the page, it says it supports ATX 3.1. That's great. That'll last me even for future upgrades. So that's what I bought. So that's the power supply pick. Please subscribe if you want to see this build. It's going to be an awesome one. I'm going to go to every detail with it.
And please give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.